Hey. I am Niall Carter Gray with First Step Accounting here, and I am back again with my Biz BFFs. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you once again. We have
Melanie Willis. I'm an enrolled agent. I work as a tax manager and senior accountant for a small firm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where we focus on holistic accounting.
Then we have
I'm Erica Williams. And I am an enrolled agent and owner of Global Financial Group. We provide bookkeeping, tax preparation, and tax debt resolution.
Next up,
Nicole Davis for Butler Davis Tax and Accounting in Metro Atlanta.
Okay. And then
Okay, hey everybody, my name is Lysandra Everett. I'm an enrolled agent and the owner of Everett Tax Solutions. We're a virtual tax preparation firm. I am the home biz tax lady.
And then last up,
but not least, Sherelle with Knight from Financial Solutions. We are located outside of Washington, D.C. and Southern Maryland, and we are an outsourced accounting and bookkeeping practice.
awesome. So by now, you guys have all heard that the funds have run out for the Paycheck Protection Loan, or PPP, and the Economic Injury Disaster Loans, EIDL, funded through the SBA. Hopefully, there's talks of it being refunded, so we're going to cross our fingers that some of these small business and micro businesses that we deal with in our practices can get some funding. So because we have, all been given this bad blow, we're here today to kind of talk about some alternative funding sources or some additional ways to kind of save money and still operate your business in this crazy climate. One other thing to note, because in the last few days we have been talking heavily with our tax clients about the recovery rebate payments for individuals, aka those stimulus checks. So some of my clients have gotten them, some of them have not. Our wonderful friend Erica Williams was just featured on her local news channel where she was talking about them. So you want to share some deets with us, Erica?
Sure. So basically there was a lot of uproar from people visiting tax offices demanding that, well, they was pretty much accusing the tax offices of stealing their rebate check. So I basically went on the news to kind of clarify how the process takes place. And basically, most of those clients who were showing up either received some sort of advance loan on their refund prior to receiving it. And they had a couple of options, which they were to either receive a printed check or a debit card of some sort. And so what happens is those banks that the tax preparer contract with, they temporarily create a bank account for the clients, and it shows like their last 4 digits of their social security number. And so once those funds are received from the IRS, then that bank disperses their tax preparation fees to the preparer, and then they also disperse the amounts to the taxpayer. And so what has happened is the IRS initially stated that they weren't going to send the stimulus payments to the bank product companies. However, they did. And so those temporary bank accounts that were created were closed once those payments were dispersed. And so a lot of those companies have had to send those refunds back to the IRS, in which now the IRS has to cut a check, which now those individuals fall into those who would get a check between the end of April, 1st of March. And so the confusion was, oh, we have
1st of May.
Huh?
1st of May.
Yes, 1st of May. So that's where the confusion kind of came in. I just told a lot of people, just be grateful that your blessing is on the way if you qualify, but you're going to have to be patient until they kind of get everything together. And that's it.
So for those of you who have no clue what the heck we're talking about, the recovery rebate payments are $1,200 for the filing status of single and head household, and $2,400 for married filing jointly, and $500 for each child under the age of 17. And you would get this amount if your income is below a certain threshold. And those amounts are dependent upon your filing status. I will post more details underneath this video. So we're not going to get into those numbers, but though the numbers are based on either the 2018 or 2019 tax returns. And if you had a refund that was direct deposited, you would have gotten a stimulus payment into your bank account the other day. And we have no clue what order the IRS is deciding to deliver these payments, because it's been random people. So if you haven't filed your tax returns for 2018 or 2019, you want to file your 2019 return immediately. This payment is an advance credit. What that means is you will see this amount show up on your tax return next year as an amount due. Then you will see it deducted for what they paid you. So long story short, if you do not get your payment now, you will get it in your refund next year when you file your taxes. Now, another thing to note is if they overpay you, you will not have to pay the overpayment back. It is not a loan. Let me state this again. It is not a loan. It is an advanced tax credit. And I know Lysandra has some thoughts on that, because we have.
Okay, gosh, I was trying to be patient over here. Okay, because y'all over here being professional. No, we about to talk about this right now. Okay, so the other thing that I want to make clear is if you have a filing requirement, you need to file. Do not use that non-filer thing, okay? Because some people have already done that, but when you use that simple return thing, you're filing a return. And if you go and use that, you're going to set yourself up to get an underpayment thing, not claiming all your income. You're setting yourself up. So if you have a filing requirement, please file the taxes. If you have a tax debt, the stimulus payment has nothing to do with tax debt. Okay. If you have a refund that's coming and you have past due tax debt, the refund, that may get taken, but the stimulus, you're still going to get that, but you still need to file your taxes. Do not try to game the system and go for this non-filer thing.
And if you owe child support, they probably will take your stimulus to apply it to child support. Just to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But federal liabilities like student loans and IRS tax debt have been told to us that they will not offset the stimulus amounts for those.
Oh, but here's something else, because I was on yet another continuing education webinar today. I have made up my CE, let me tell you. The other thing is that we're talking about that there is a loophole that if you have a creditor that's reported to the federal government, that your stimulus could be intercepted by those creditors. Whoops.
Ooh, didn't know that.
They took care of the federal part, but not the public part. So whoops.
Oops.
Yeah.
Look, nobody know what to say to that. Like, wow.
Yeah, because I saw some news reports about that, and then when I took the continuing ed today, that confirmed that there is that loophole there, that if those creditors have reported to federal agencies, then they can access that stimulus money.
Well, I do also want to make note there, if you owed in the past and or you only filed your 2018 tax return, there's also another link where you'll be able to update your direct deposit information. They only update this link once a day, so don't check multiple times. You can check daily until you see your information show up, but they're not required to send you a direct deposit. If you don't get the direct deposit, you will get a check. So please be patient. Don't call the random tax preparer that you see on YouTube. Call your tax pro. If you don't have a tax professional, feel free to leave a question under a video, but don't get annoyed if that person doesn't respond. It's not their responsibility. Unfortunately, you were not a paying customer of theirs, so they don't have an obligation to stop, drop, and roll to explain to you stuff that you can read on the internet or watch a video like this and get some information, right? So on that note, we're going to talk about some additional funding sources, because that is one, but we know like some of the larger businesses need a little bit more than a stimulus check, because those stimulus payments are only for individuals. I know Melanie deals more with a little larger companies, and there are some credits out there, right, that could be available for businesses that may or may not have employees.
Yeah, there's actually several provisions that they came out with, and some of them are in the CARES Act, but there was an act that was signed prior to the CARES Act that doesn't get a lot of attention. I think it got more negative attention initially, and that's the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, the FFCRA. No, that's not easier, but that's what it is. But there was a lot of provisions built into that, but specifically employers were focused on the new requirements for FMLA payments and sick pay. And so what that act did is it modified the existing FMLA regulations. So it actually added one provision that if someone is caring for a minor child, that as a result, they can't work because they have to care for their minor child as a result of school closings or their daycare closing because of COVID, then that was added to the FMLA requirements. And under the old rules, that didn't have to be paid. Under this act, it's required to be paid. So that's a big deal. And again, the initial reaction was negative from employers. The other thing that it added was a sick pay requirement. So just like it sounds, like if somebody's affected by coronavirus, if they're sick, they have symptoms, they are subject to quarantine, they would fall under the sick pay, and they can't work, obviously, they would fall under that. And also if you're caring for someone, and the caring for the minor child aspect of it, that also applies to sick pay. So if you're caring for a minor child, an employee could potentially get up to 12 weeks of pay, 2 weeks for sick pay and 10 weeks for the FMLA. The good thing about that is there is a tax credit that is associated with those new requirements. And by the way, this is for all employers with less than 500 employees. So that credit, it's a credit against your payroll taxes, and essentially it's going to pay for all of those wages for FMLA and sick pay and the payroll taxes associated with it. So it's not a bad thing. If you have, a lot of employers are going to have employees that cannot work because they need to care for their kids, or they have reduced hours, or they're going to, unfortunately, they have employees that are sick or taking care of someone who's sick. So you have a potential there to free up some funds if you have employees that fit under this category, because there is a little provision in there that says if you have less than 50 employees, you can just basically say, no, I don't, this doesn't apply to me because it's going to hurt me to have this employee not work for me. But it might actually be better that you go ahead if this is a really important employee that you want to hang on to. Might be better to go ahead and just keep them on, let them not work, and then pay them under these provisions and get the credit. So it's not cash up front in your pocket, but essentially you're going to get those wages paid for. So it's actually not a bad program, but I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend or advise you that you need to talk to your tax advisor. There's a lot of little nuances in those rules. So you need to make sure that you're following them properly, and that you're meeting those requirements.
Yes, I agree. So I want to piggyback off what Melody just talked about. I actually set up a client yesterday for FMLA. They are a construction company based in North Carolina. They had 6 guys who can't do anything right now. So we pretty much put them all on the Extended Family Medical Leave Act because they fell under the category to where they have children whose schools were closed. So they qualify for the Extended Family Medical Leave Act. Now, you have an option depending on which category you fall in and what your pay type is to either pay them 2/3 of their salary or their full salary. But they fell under the category where they're getting their full salary. But when I put them in a QuickBooks, I already have to set up. The pay types are set up in QuickBooks. You can go in, apply the pay types to each employee, pay them under that pay type, and it immediately gives you the credit for those taxes. So it was nice to see that it was already set up in QuickBooks, and it saved the company a couple $1,000s in payroll, so taxes. So it's a great, if they're not able, and this is one of the companies that wasn't able to get the PPP loan because they missed that window, but now they're at least saving some money.
Yeah.
A question, because one of the things that I saw just in, the social media scuttlebutt is that there were employees that were complaining that they were being made to use their paid leave first before, like if they had paid vacation or sick leave, that they were required to use that first before they got what you just said, because I don't do
Yeah.
From my understanding, that you don't have, they aren't supposed to make them use that leave. Right. From my understanding, but employers.
And it wasn't effective until April 1st. So that was this actually came up with one of our clients prior to the 1st of April, where they had an employee that was sick, and so they were insisting that they qualify for this particular program, but they did not. So that didn't kick in until April 1st, and some people, there was that question about whether they should be required to use their own sick and vacation. But in that circumstance, they were required to because it wasn't in effect yet. I mean, the owner could have still paid it, but they weren't required to, and the credit would not have been in effect.
And with the extended,
go ahead. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go.
The one thing I wanted to add to is that this does apply to self-employed individuals. So that's important. It's a credit that essentially you can only take on your personal tax return, on your 1040, but you could potentially have your tax advisor adjust your estimated taxes for that credit. So that would obviously free up some cash too.
Right. And you won't see the savings. The self-employed won't see the savings this year, but they'll see it next year when they file their 2020 tax returns. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to mention that the first 2 weeks of the Extended Family Medical Leave Act is actually unpaid. So if you have an employee that goes, that falls into one of those categories, then the first 2 weeks you don't have to pay them. But again, that's a judgment call on the employer.
Mm-hmm. These are all good tips. I definitely didn't realize you could take them for self-employed people, so that's huge. So if you are self-employed and want more advice about this, we highly recommend you talk to a tax pro. You may have to pay a small fee if you're doing your own taxes for consultation, but it could be well worth it if it's going to save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars in self-employment taxes next year. So that was a great tidbit, Melanie. Awesome. Keep them thousands in the bank. That's another way right. to get some money flowing in, is to not have it go out the door in the first place. So I know we were talking earlier about some grants and things, looking for opportunities there, because now that we know that these loan programs may not be or are run out of funds right now, people are also looking for grant opportunities. And I think, Sherelle, you had a couple you have seen or saw on the internet somewhere.
Yeah, there's actually there's a lot of different grants out there with different stipulations. I just think people are so caught up, they want to get the government funding that they're not paying these other organizations any attention. But there are a lot of larger corporations out there who are offering grants. I know one of them particularly, Verizon, was offering some grant money for business owners who had, and it was specifically for business owners who had more than one business. And I know there's a lot of people out here who have more than one entity under their belt. So, there's a group of people focusing on their one business, but there's a group of people who have like 2 and 3 and 4 businesses that they have to try to figure out. And so their program had temporarily closed. Their first round had ended, but they do have a website where you can go to and put in your information, because it does say that they're going to open up a second round. And so you can make sure that you get in on that. The Chamber of Commerce, there's a Chamber of Commerce called Save Small Business Fund. They're giving up to $5,000 to small business owners. Again, let me see if that's the one where you have to have, one of them you have to have a certain number of employees. Yeah, so that one is for people if you employ 3 to 20 people. So it's very specific, but again, it's a grant. It's $5,000. They also have a website. I guess I can send you the link so you can put them. We can put them somewhere to share all the links. But you can apply. And again, this is all free money. So with grants, you don't have to pay this money back. So definitely take advantage of them. A third one that I've seen recently just pop up was specifically for the state of Virginia. They call it the VA 30-Day Fund. So for the whole month of April, the entire month of April, they're giving out grants of up to, I think it's $5,000 also to business owners for the whole month of April. So they're giving out several. They don't specifically say how many, but they say it's a very simple and easy process, no red tape. So again, do the research, dig a little bit beyond. Now that the PPP and the EIDL have supposedly ran out, they may give out more money, they may not. We have no idea. But there are other opportunities. Some states still have grant funding on their side as well, so definitely check with your states. Some of them may have closed, but some of them do still have, applications open so that you can apply and get the money. So there's a ton of them out there. I know the hair company Shea Moisture has one. The owner of Spanx has one. So there are definitely several different ones out there for different reasons. You just have to read the criteria and see what it is to see if you qualify for it. But it's free money, girl, y'all. Don't get that money.
I know Facebook has
and it
one
all
too.
adds up.
Yeah, it does.
People are thinking because it's only 4,000 or 5,000 or, 1 + 1 = 2 all day long. So you keep adding 2 + 2 = 4, 4 + 4 = 8, keep it going. Next thing you know, you'll have a nice chunk of change that you don't have to pay back. Because I know a lot of people, don't want to get loans, and I understand that. So take advantage of all these small grants if you can to come up with enough money to keep your people employed and your doors open.
And also be mindful, sometimes the grants do have requirements on how you have to spend them. So although they may be initially forgivable, make sure you're following the guidelines of the grants to ensure that aren't having.
Yes, because the VA Day Fund one says specifically to meet payroll and preserve health care coverage for their employees. So it's very specific what you can use it for. So, don't just let it go to the wind because you thought it was too small, or you just didn't feel like pulling whatever documentation they need.
So what happens if they don't use it for what it's designated for or what it's specified for?
Generally,
they don't say on the website, but they can come back and I guess in some instances, because these are corporations, I'm not 100% sure if they would take it back or if they have the authority to turn it into a loan. But they probably can make you pay it back. Would be my initial guess, is that they would make you pay it back.
Yeah, and since we're talking about small dollar items bringing in too, there are other ways to bring in small bits of revenue that you may not have been thinking about. I personally use Dosh, which is an app on your phone. So every time you swipe your card at certain stores, you'll get some cash back. And although it may not be a crap ton of money, those $5 and $10 and $15 add up, especially if you're going to be shopping online anyway. So check with your banks, because just about every bank has some type of section where they have some type of rewards program linked to your bank card. So don't forget about those either, especially like just recently, I had a reward for Staples, and it was 10% of my spending. Well, I just went and bought a whole bunch of office equipment. So my little 10% added up. It, you know, in my eyes, it reduced the cost of what I just spent. So keep those in mind. Don't forget. Though everything helps. So you can also, you know, while you're home and cleaning out your closets, I have used ThreadUp in the past. You just mail them all your old clothes and they'll sell them for you. People are at home shopping right now, especially since they just—
Wait, what's that called?
ThreadUp.
I ain't never heard of that.
I'll send you a link, girl. I will say some of them are a little particular. Some of those sites like that are a little particular about the items that they take. So, you know, they have a list of brands they accept and what season they're accepting for. So that was one. And essentially what I did was take the old stuff in my closet and replaced it with some new stuff. So that was my shopping money. That's what I call it.
So I have a question. I have a question. What kind of resources would you give your clients in terms of where they should go to find I mean, because you're talking about a variety of different grants and funding. Is there any particular resource that you're using?
So I have a blog post on my website where I'm updating it every day. As I find out about new opportunities or new resources, I put it on there and I update it. I'm updating it almost every day. And I know there's a few other people who are doing the same thing. I'm a part of an organization called Horror Corner. They're doing the same thing. And I actually got a couple emails today from alternative lending companies. So I know a lot of people are doing something similar. So, you know, they can definitely come to my website. They can check, but also check with whoever their accounting or tax professional is to see if they have a list that they're keeping running. I know Gusto has this massive list. It's in a Google sheet.
Yes.
And I even have it on my site. I still have it on my page. You click this link, it takes you to Gusto. That's okay. Yeah. And their list is massive. So and I try to put stuff on it. Most of the stuff on there is for Maryland, D.C., and Virginia because that's where I'm centrally located. But I have clients all over the country, so I have stuff from other states as well as is applicable. But like Gusto has something, I think, for every state. Like they put something out there for every state for you to go and find some stuff. So that would be my suggestion. You know, you can start at my website and then kind of branch out from there if you need to.
And I'll add the link for anyone who is interested.
And we want to remember too that part of the CARES Act, they did provide additional funding for these smaller organizations and local organizations. So, you know, we have like a small business development center in Michigan. So most states have something similar. The chamber, if you're a woman-owned business or minority-owned business, all these different organizations, they're now going to start getting funding to offer things. So if we're not seeing anything at this moment, we should start seeing some other grant opportunities open up.
Yeah, I did read that. And I was like, oh, okay, so they get money, and it could be money to assist you. It could be money to train you, teach you. There was also a fund. I think somebody told me it ran out though in Maryland, where you could get. It was basically just. It was similar to a grant, and it was specifically to get reimbursed for costs you needed to do to be able to work remotely and to work from home. You could get that money back. But I think it was only like $7 million maybe, and so I think it might be gone. But, you know, other states may have something similar to that as well.
Yeah, Michigan did, and it goes so fast. So I keep the feedback I'm getting from my clients is everybody wants me to tell them when something comes up, but by the time I hear about it and then try to translate that to whoever it applies to, it's already filled up. So it's really important for these business owners to have connections directly with these different resources now, and to not ignore what they would have previously ignored as junk mail. You know, all those organizations, there's so many emails they're getting, they need to pay attention.
But I think, you know, right now, again, it's the lesson learned, right? Because you have to be ready. Like this money was gone within 2 weeks. I don't know how much money was designated specifically for the small business funding, but within 2 weeks it was gone. So if you had to take time to get your books together and all of that stuff, people were already ready. Okay. So like you have to learn the lesson. So in the event that this happens, something like this happens in the future, and it just might be that you need capital for some reason, like you got to be prepared to secure capital before you actually need to do it. So, you know, like I've gotten a lot of pushback from people when I'm saying, you know, learn the lessons here. I know you don't want to hear that right now, but you got to learn the lessons, because if not, you're going to repeat it. It's going to be 2 years down the road and you're going to find yourself back in the same spot with no money. You need help because your books aren't together, and then you're sitting there crying the blues. And you're going to think back to, I should have done this back then. Okay, well, you know, so you have to learn the lesson. Life will give you the same test until you pass it.
It's getting hot in here.
Lord. Lord, will it?
Did you get the message? Learn the lesson, baby. If you didn't.
I like that.
Yes. Applause, applause, applause. Yes. Amen, sister. Nicole, I know you have some unique ways small businesses can look to bring in some revenue right now too.
Yeah. All right. So of course we talked about a lot of the loans that are available. I know Atlanta had a similar loan to Maryland where they allocated about $7 million, but again, it went so fast. Like if you're not ready, like Lysandra was saying, if you're not ready when they announce it, then you're pretty much going to lose out on those. So definitely be prepared. There are a couple of other ones, the Lending Club, and these are more unconventional lending methods. So the Lending Club is like an online platform where you can go and get a loan from investors, so personal investors that would invest in your business and your product or in your concept. And also Rocket Hub. So Rocket Hub is like a crowdfunding campaign where you have an idea or a concept that you want to bring to market and you just don't have the capital right now. So this is definitely great for those startups, especially those businesses that started in January 2020, February 2020, and then all of a sudden the market just collapsed and your business idea went nowhere. Then you definitely want to try to, you know, do some crowdfunding so you can still get it out in the market, but you also get capital to kind of build it out until things improve. For existing businesses, if you have inventory, look for those inventory surplus companies that will buy it. You won't get dollar for dollar or even a profit on it, but hey, it's just sitting there in a warehouse now, not collecting you any money, getting old, dusty, it's going to be obsolete soon. So you definitely want to find ways to get that off your shelves, then get the cash in the bank so you can at least survive another few months or a year until things improve. So those are the things that I had. Oh, and one last thing. So this is sort of not it's not what you would normally do, but when things get like really desperate, because some businesses are at a point where they're really desperate for cash. I mean, if you have assets in your business, furniture, computers that you're not using, especially if you have employees that are furloughed, take those things to a pawn shop, get cash. Many pawn shops will actually hold those items for you until you can come back and purchase them. They won't sell them. So that's an idea if you like need cash right away and you have assets in your office that you aren't using, or if you have things in your house that you aren't using, pawn it, go back and get it later when you have the cash to rebuy it. So.
Those are all great tips. Yeah, you know, if things get hard, you got to do what you got to do. Definitely.
You got to get creative.
Yeah, you got to get creative. And I know you mentioned crowd funding. So Kiva is another program that I have invested in where you can, as a small business owner, ask for a loan.
Me too.
And some people can invest in your business, which is pretty cool. One other thing, since we're talking about crowdfunding, and it's everybody's not so favorite crowdfunding source, GoFundMe. However, they do have a partnership with Intuit, and it's called the Small Business Relief Initiative Fund. And what can happen is if you set up a GoFundMe page and your business can raise at least $500, they'll match you $500. So, like we've been saying, every little bit helps. Again, I will put the link in underneath the video. But what happens is you set up the GoFundMe, there's a form you have to fill out to give them the link for that GoFundMe campaign. You have to put the hashtag small business relief in the story of the campaign. And then after you have reached your $500 donations, there should be a match that comes through of $500. So I did set up one because 2020 was the year I decided to hire my mama. And everybody knows that was like year in the making. I was like all excited. I told her quit her job and come work for me. And then 2020 hit and I lost a couple of clients. So I will report back how soon I get my match because the campaign has definitely met its goal today. So it's another opportunity for you to, again, get funds in your business that you need. And at this point, I don't think anybody is too proud to beg. Because we want to stay in business. We're considered micro businesses. And as you see, some of these programs, the bigger ones, aren't really set up for us. But we are here to support you and give you options, right? So I know Lysandra has some ideas on how small businesses can bring funds in the door as well.
Yeah, what I have to tell you today, I was perusing Yahoo and there was a story about Herschel Walker on there. And who knew? Everybody know who Herschel Walker is? Football player. Ooh, somebody is very young. Okay, all right.
I'm in my 40s, girl.
George people know Herschel Walker. Okay, George people know Herschel Walker. But anyway, Herschel Walker.
How do you spell that?
Herschel, Herschel Walker. But he's a former Heisman Trophy winner, UGA football player. But what I did not know about him
who this
is that he has a poultry meat company that's in Dublin. As much as I've gone through there at a high rate of speed, had no clue. But one thing that he said that he's not waiting for the government or the PPP or anything to save his company. He's like, this is my job. And he's like, during these funky times, banks tend to forget about you. So, he's like, so I'm going to have to figure this out. It's not going to be, all this other stuff. And, he's like, he has enough to keep his employees paid with their benefits at least for 3 months. And he said, we just gonna have to figure it out. That's what we got to do, but I
did hear about that.
It was, but it was such a good thing to see that, he's like, cause he said, we're family. And if I let one go, it's going to hurt somebody else. So, basically he said like, as a company, that, we're in this together. I think he said like he had about 200 employees and he's like, ain't nobody calling me for no money. So, we got to figure out something else. Mm-hmm. And so, but the things I'm going to talk about today, this is really more of a long game because see, right now, everybody's really trying to put Band-Aids, put out fires and everything, but you also got to be thinking about the long game because now that everybody's at the house, it's really time for you to step up your digital game. We've already figured that out. Like you have, and so in your business, it may be time for you to get creative about things, other ways that you can take what you know and make money with it. One of the things that you can do is create your own products, right? And it doesn't have to be some, with the internet, you can sell a whole bunch, a little bit of money and boss all the way out, right? You might have a little ebook that's $17, $20 or something like that, that's going to help solve a problem for someone. put that baby out there, right? And you know, because everybody talk about all this time we got at home. Well, if you got all this time at home, then you need to be sharing whatever you just created all over this entire internet, okay? We got all these social media platforms. And so it's time for you to really sit and think about, you know, what you have and how can you create some, you know, it's very easy to create an ebook, right? It's very easy to create an audio recording. It's all of the, you got things like Canva that's free to use. You got Word, and you know, you create your own PDFs. So there's a lot of things that you can do to, you know, to generate some income, and you can put those things up on different sites. You know, that they charge a nominal fee once you sell it, so it's not like you have to pay for that up front. So you can, I mean, you can even put that up on Fiverr. Let's, you know, come on. They take a commission, but you don't have to pay that up front. So there are, you know, lots of ways to, you know, create a product and put it out there for sale. And also freelance your skills. If you're a great writer, if you know how to edit video, if you know how to use a free service like Canva to create some graphics or something like that, people are still looking for that stuff. And what I want you to really understand is that even though you might be struggling, everybody's not struggling. So you have to get out there and find the people who have money that is willing to spend on what you have to offer. Okay, you're gonna have to grind. Mark Cuban said, everybody needs to fall in love with the grind. So if you're sitting up there, if you went and all that stuff, you ain't hungry enough. That's what it boils down to. It's like, you got to get hungry enough to get out there and grind it out. And believe me, I have been there. I have written 500-word blog posts for $5 when I was broke. Okay, so I'm telling you what I know. The next thing is affiliate marketing. Okay, people are still shopping, and especially since they at the house and they got their economic impact payment checks, stimulus checks, and people still yet to get their stimulus checks. Is gonna burn a hole in their whole bank account. Okay, and so you need to you need to get out there and get these affiliate links. There are lots of places and lots of things that have affiliate links, and you have to just scroll all the way to the bottom. Like, you scroll, keep scrolling to the fine print and look for affiliates, and you sign up and you go promote this, because you're using this stuff already. Right? If you're, I don't care if you're using some headphones, you're using your external drive, all the different tools that you may be using in your business, look for affiliate links. So when you're, somebody's like, what kind of microphone should I use? Oh, you should use a Yeti, and here's this affiliate link for you to buy it from. Right? So, you know, I say friends ask friends for affiliate links. That's how I get down. Okay. But, you know, but again, this is little tidbits of money that add up. You know, get out here. YouTube is free. Shoot these YouTube videos to promote these products. Okay, you've got all sorts of free tools that you can use that cost you nothing but your time to generate additional money to your business, and all of that stuff. And you're going to link that stuff right back to your own website and bring visibility to what you may be doing in an offline world. Because if you, again, this is a long game. So if you start this now, you might not necessarily see the benefit of that now, but trust and believe that if you consistently do the work, because, you know, the digital world is not a one-hitter quitter. This is something that you have to do consistently. And if you make it a part of what you're doing in your business, once you get that going, I promise you, it will pay off tenfold. Like, people talk about, I need to be marketing more. I'm like, I can't market no more. Cause like, I'm kind of tapped out right now. I am grateful that I am tapped out, right? But it's because this is something that I've done, you know, consistently day in and day out. And now all of that is coming back. So, you know, the digital, this is the stalker generation. If they can't find you on the internet, they're going to find whoever is there, and they're going to go buy from them. So you have to have a digital footprint. And as much as now that people have realized, ooh, there's so much that can be done digitally, you need to be paying attention, And if you're not there, you need to get there so that you can be found. And if they can't see you, they can't pay you. That's my other motto.
Well, girl, okay. So first of all, let me just say, I love it's the stalker generation. Okay, that is like the absolute perfect description for why people need websites and to be on social media. That is so true. Like, oh, geez, that was good.
Yeah, that was really good. That's a conversation I've been having for the last 3 weeks with my clients. I was trying to call each one of them. I'm actually pretty proud of how everybody was able to just very quickly pivot their business online. I thought it would be more challenging for them because I do have a lot of clients that are a bit challenged when it comes to technology, but they have some adjustments to make. I think one of the challenges I was seeing for most of them is they were looking at this as a temporary solution, as opposed to looking at this as an opportunity to expand their business and open up to a whole new market.
Yeah.
I have a dance studio, and I had like a martial arts studio, and I understand the immediate thought is we need to stop the bleeding. We need to make sure we don't have to start cutting checks, refunding people's money, and that's fine. You need to do that, but there's a whole other market out there. And it's especially right after we start going back, people are not going to be comfortable going into these spaces, sharing sweat with other people. I'm not. And you have the market that in general, they don't want to go to a dance class. They would love to learn how to dance, but not with a whole bunch of other people. That's a big market. I'm part of it. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a great opportunity for businesses to be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah. I mean, and we even saw that, among the tax profession as well, because, even in our organizations and everything, we're on this email chain. It's like, I'm having to shut down my business and I don't know how I'm going to do this and all of that. And here's Lysandra, business as usual.
Here's Naya, business as usual. Here's everybody on this call, business as usual.
Hollering at thou, I'm busy. Like, you go figure that out. My clients are like, I'm so glad I could just send my stuff to you. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Right. Like, people keep putting those posts. People keep posting like, "What are you doing today? How are you this quarantine?" I keep posting the image with the little cat or what's my man typing real fast. I'm like, this is me. I don't know what y'all doing, but this is what I'm doing.
Because they keep talking.
Ain't that changed?
All this time. Like, who are you people that have this time? Because I do.
I don't
Let
know.
it change.
So it is the online world, and people are like, oh, it's too noisy. Oh, I don't want to sell right now. Listen, I don't know any of the people that I buy. My emails have not stopped popping off. I got Old Navy sent me an advertisement right now. I got some $20 super cash or something, and I'm about to go see what they talk about too. So get out of the
JCPenney texts me like we good friends,
right?
Right.
Okay.
They like, where you at, girl? You ain't burned that card up yet. What's going on?
They have stepped up their online game, and you have to do that. There is a space for you in the digital world, and you gotta get there. Like,
you just gotta figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, just gotta figure it out. Like, the hair industry, it amazes me because, I don't know. I know I had never seen an online beauty supply store, like for when I go beauty shopping. And but I'm in a group with a guy who owns a African American beauty supply store in Baltimore, and I was like, I need some braid. Like, I can't find my hair, and the kids want all these products, and I ain't trying to keep going to the store. And I saw on his Instagram page that he was doing deliveries within 3 miles of his store. He was doing physical deliveries, and I was like, oh, I might be a little too far south. And he was like, send me what you want. Yes, sir. I will get that order to you because we need it's 3 women, it's 3 females in this house. And a whole lot of hair. So you got to create, like, hairstylists are creating, like, home care kits, which I thought was so cute and so smart. for how you can help care for your hair in their absence. They're doing tutorial videos on how to wrap your hair, how to cut your hair, how to not cut, trim.
Right.
Trim.
And see, and that's the thing, is that you have to get out of the mindset that if I show somebody how to do something, then they're not going to come back to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Look,
have to
and
let go of that.
But that's false. And I can promise you that. That's false.
Yeah.
And
so
I want to share with you all something that I saw. So it's a non-traditional model for this business. It is I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can see it, because I thought it was the freaking cutest thing ever. There is this farm in Silicon Valley where you can invite a goat or a llama or any animal on their farm to your Zoom meeting for under $100. Like, who wouldn't want to see this cute little llama in your Zoom meeting, right?
And what is it that it's just on the screen while y'all just looking at it, laughing at it and stuff?
Just looking at it, laughing. It's just the cutest little thing. But this farm, I found this on Business. It's a animal sanctuary, so it's called Sweet Farm. What they're doing is offering some tours for like $65. So all this is in the article, and I'll post the link to this. But they have you can pay from $65 to $250, depending on how many people are in your meeting, where they either do a tour of the farm, or like I said, you can get one of the animals on screen at your meeting. So it's like cool for up to 20 minutes. And it's like, oh, I wish I would have found this sooner, because I would have invited the llama to our party today, right?
Next time.
Right.
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool to even think that a farm who their revenue is primarily generated from people visiting them have decided to go to the cloud and use the technology that's out there to continue to make money. So cute little llama showing up on the screen.
Wow.
And
this is what you call hustle. See, and don't let people shame your hustle.
Yes. Do not let, because listen, your people's opinions do not pay your bills. They don't put no food, refrigerator, none of that stuff. Like, people really like, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think? And I just simply ask you, show me which bill that person's opinion is paying. Okay, burn up your social media. Okay, listen. Like,
don't be shamed,
right? Don't be shamed. Like, people are like, oh my gosh, my family, whatever. Look, this is social media. If you don't want to see what I'm posting, holler at you. See at the family reunion. But
and I had to learn that from
surprised what people will pay for. Like, if I've learned nothing, you would be surprised at what people will pay for. People will pay for the craziest things, and so you don't know it until you try it. And if you try it, and you try for a week or two or whatever, and it don't work, okay, we'll move on. Don't keep doing it. But
ship your enemies glitter is my favorite example. I love this story. So
ship your enemies glitter.
Oh my gosh!
So
let me tell you the story. So it's this dude in Australia. He started this company called Ship Your Enemies Glitter. He would put glitter in an envelope, and you pay like $10. He mail it to whoever. So then when people open it, they go poof, and they have glitter all over the place.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He was overrun, and he turned around and sold it like 30 days or 90 days later for $80,000, because he couldn't keep up with the orders. He had an envelope.
There you go, right glitter, here. ShipYourEnemies.com.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
It's called
That's so funny.
For $9.99.
$9.99. The glitter bomb.
Not the Lord.
And he could.
Is this kid friendly? Is this a kid friendly one?
I see it. Oh.
That's great.
Look, sorry about that. We didn't know.
I'll blur it out.
I might buy one of those.
Oh, on the edit. She's on the edit.
But that's my thing. You know, who would have thought about an envelope and glitter and some stamps, and voila, we got a business that we can't keep up with. So, yeah, no idea is too stupid.
And the other thing too, if you're worried about sending your stuff out on social media, you can put your friends and family into groups on social media and post things to those specific groups. And I'm not talking about setting up a whole group. I'm just talking about
Classifying them.
basically
The
we're
filter.
Like a filter.
classifying your people
Like a filter,
yeah, putting them in buckets so
Yeah.
that you might want to share something with friends but not family. And
Yeah, I don't have
You
that.
might want to share one with business friends, but not your high school friends, because they might not all be interested.
right.
Yeah.
It sounded like I ain't got time for all that.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
That's
You-
everybody gets it. Everybody gets it.
Everybody
we gotta
gets it.
shout her out,
If-
but that's
if it-
because she just hit that 10,000
If you don't like it,
subscriber mark on
then
YouTube.
hide you.
Got my 10K subscribers on YouTube, y'all.
Awesome. Congrats.
You passed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
she hit it.
But even
Good.
still, I'm like, listen, so if you don't use my services, somebody that you know might need me. So
Right.
everybody getting all this.
Yep.
Mhm.
You get it all.
That's
If you don't
You
want
said
it,
everybody get all of this.
you get all this. Everybody know what I do. That's for sure.
Right. That's why she got all those calls yesterday about those
Okay, for real. I had a whole bunch of people I didn't know calling me. I was like,
You didn't want that. You didn't want that.
I ain't want that, but that's an anomaly. I will take that. I didn't want that smoke. I was not ready for all that smoke. You got it.
But I guarantee you she's gonna get a couple new clients out of the deal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So so I just say that you really do. You got to get on your grind, and and again, it's a long game, but if you do it consistently, it will pay off. And this isn't like it's not temporary. The digital age is not going away. You got new platforms coming up at every 2 seconds. The last one is there has been something after TikTok. I ain't even got to TikTok.
They will.
Oh,
TikTok is
TikTok is
addictive.
so addictive.
It's
It's so addictive.
So
Look, if you
I
haven't
lost a whole
downloaded it-
hour yesterday. I don't even know what happened, but I was on TikTok.
Oh, you're doing good if it's just an hour.
Don't.
Look,
Don't.
you
You
haven't
can put your
downloaded it.
video on there. You can put your video on there.
No.
Yes.
Oh, you have a TikTok now?
That's what it's for.
Oh, I gotta. Well,
I don't know
no,
how
I didn't
you
actually
so
create
put it
an
on
account.
there.
I'm not
I
going
don't have
that far.
any videos on there yet,
Let me tell
Melanie.
me
I don't have no
Oh.
videos on there, but I have an account. You should put your video on there, Nicole. Yes. People will watch it. Yes. Get it. Put it. Do it.
So, okay, Nicole
We
created
talk later.
so Nicole created a video, a spoof video. Leave her alone. Them daggone kids at home getting on her nerves. So hopefully she'll let me post the link so you guys can watch it too.
That's funny. So okay, but I'm done. I can go and talk about this forever. Okay, but I'm done.
I understand.
Yeah. So as usual, this has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And hopefully you guys out there watching have gotten some tips on and some resources to hopefully bring in some extra funds into your business during this time of the pandemic, but also long term, because Lassandra's just snatched out edges and told us to think about the long game. Don't just be putting the Band-Aid on the wound right now. You want to get creative and start coming up with sources to generate funds in the long term. And Sherelle was very handy giving us some grants we can look for. Hopefully we all can take part in this free money. And then Melanie gave us some good tips on those with employees and the leave and getting these tax credits, so that way money's not coming out the door as well. And then Nicole shared with us some loan programs, some crowdfunding source loan programs that could be an alternative source, low interest loans. And Erica told us all about those economic recovery rebates for individuals, AKA the stimulus checks. So check us out again next week. Hopefully we can have a insightful conversation just like this one, and you'll come back for more. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.